Hello, this is Luke Scriven here at Vision Forward. Welcome back to another In Focus Tech Talk.
Okay, so let's take a look at some of the accessibility options built in to the Chromebook for people with low vision. And first of all, we need to see where those options are. So the way to get to them, we can either click where the time is in the bottom right of the screen, and that will open up our settings, and we have an option there for accessibility. And also, and this is what we're going to be looking at, there's a cogwheel that will take us to the full settings. We can also use a keyboard shortcut to get there, which would be Alt, Shift and S, and that will open up the same window. So let's go ahead and click on the settings cogwheel at the top, and that's going to bring us into our full device settings, and then we will go to Advanced, and then Accessibility, and then Manage Accessibility Features. And here we are, we have all the accessibility features of the Chromebook in front of us. So let's start to move through some of these. And the first section is text to speech, and we have Chromebook here. Now we're not going to look at Chromebook now because Corey will be showing that, but that of course is the screen reader that's built into the Chromebook. Just underneath there we have an option for select to speak, and this allows us to highlight text and have it read aloud by the computer. And so we can enable it from here in the settings, and then the best way to use it is to, whenever we highlight text, is to then use the keyboard shortcut Search plus S. So let's open up a web page here, and let's go to, let's say, Wikipedia. Let's open that up, and we'll see what we have here. Okay, so here's some text here from an article that's featured today. I'm going to highlight that text, and we're going to do a Search S.
The Battle of the Sa was the culminating battle of a campaign fought between a Carthaginian army led.
Good, and I hit space to pause. If I hit space again, it would resume playing. And while it's playing, we can also use the left and right arrow keys to skip forward and backward. Let's give that a try.
Led by Hamilcar Barca and a 19th century. The Battle of the Sa. Carthage was fighting unable to confront.
And so on and so forth. We also have a visual control panel, and on that control panel we have a go back to previous paragraph, we have a previous sentence, we have a play pause button, we have a next sentence button, a next paragraph button, and a voice reading speed button we can use to increase or decrease the reading speed of the voice. And there's also an X, so we can close out that reading control panel. So this is a really nice feature which will give us some text-to-speech functionality without having to turn on Chromebooks. So if we are a visual computer user, then I think this gives us a really nice option there. Now underneath there we have Open Select to Speak settings, and if we click on there, it's going to give us some options such as changing the text-to-speech voice. There's a number of English voices, but also there are a number of other languages as well. And we also can change the way that highlighting works. So by default, the Chromebook will highlight the words as they're spoken. We can turn that feature on and off. We can also change the highlighting color, and we can also choose to shade, make darker anything which isn't being read to help keep us focused on what is being read aloud to us. We can also enable and disable those visual navigation controls. So some really pretty comprehensive features there, whether we're talking about people with low vision, but also people with other print disabilities as well. We've got a number of good options there to assist. Let's go back to our accessibility features, and we'll go on to the next feature, which is going to be high contrast mode. This of course will change all the blacks to white and all the whites to black, and we can toggle it on and off from here in our settings. So let me toggle it on. Go, and let's go ahead and toggle it off. Now it's probably going to be worthwhile to memorize the keyboard shortcut for this, so we can turn it on and off as we want to. And the keyboard shortcut is going to be Search Control H, and that will allow us to turn it on and off. This is not a smart invert, and so unfortunately it will change the color of pictures as well as text. So for example, on this web page we have a number of pictures. If we turn on the high contrast mode, all of the colors of those pictures will be inverted as well, so they'll start to look a little bit crazy. And so it's good that we can easily turn on and off the high contrast mode with a shortcut. And it's very snappy. As soon as we do the shortcut, it will turn high contrast on or off. So that works really nicely. And just underneath there, we have the next accessibility setting, the full screen magnifier. And so this allows us to zoom in, of course. And again, it's going to be worth memorizing the keyboard shortcut for this. So this will be Search Control M for magnifier. And now we are zoomed in. This is full screen, so everything has been zoomed in here. And in order to change the zoom level, the way that I recommend doing it is holding down Control and Alt and using 2 fingers on the touchpad. If we bring 2 fingers toward us, it will zoom in. 2 fingers away from us will zoom out. And it will remember whatever magnification level we last used. So when we turn the magnifier off, then when we turn it back on again, it will go back to that same magnification level. So all of that works pretty good. Now, in full screen zoom, of course, we only see a portion of the screen, and so to pan around, we have to move the mouse in the direction that we want to pan, up, down, left, or right. But we also have the option of panning using the keyboard. If we hold down Control and Alt, we can use the up and down and left and right arrow keys to pan around using the keyboard. And some people might find that easier to manage. Sometimes it can be confusing panning around with the mouse. So I do like that feature for sure. Let's turn that off again with a Search Control M. And look at the docked magnifier. That's the next option that we have. That will be turned on with a Search Control D. And now we have a docked magnifier at the top of the screen. At the bottom, it's just a regular size screen, and wherever we move the mouse at the bottom will show up magnified at the top of the screen. So this does and it give you some context of the full page that you're looking at, as well as a magnified view of that page. And so if you do tend to get lost when you're doing full screen zoom because you haven't got that overall context anymore, this can be a good alternative that will allow you to magnify things a little easier. And again, we can use Control and Alt plus 2 fingers on the trackpad to zoom in and out. And to turn off the docked magnifier, Control, Search, and D again. So some really nice magnifiers. They don't have any problems with causing lag or anything like that. They work very smoothly. They turn on and off instantly, and the panning is all very smooth and everything like that. So on to the next option, which is Open Display Device Settings. If we go into here, we do have an option to increase the size of everything. Now I'm not going to do that now because I'm worried about it messing my recording setup up. But if we slide this slider to the right, it will make everything bigger, like changing the resolution on a PC. And so everything on the screen, including the taskbar at the bottom and all of that stuff, all the windows and everything would get bigger. And so if we're a low vision user, we might want to set that up to, you know, the largest size. That can be pretty helpful. And if we go back to our accessibility settings, we also have the option to customize the text size that the computer's using. And so we can change the font size to, you know, large or very large, and also change the font itself. And so, you know, we can choose what font we want to use. Something easy to read, like an Arial or something like that, might be useful. And here we have some other font size options: minimum font size and regular font size. So really some good customizability options there. Those can definitely be useful because, I mean, generally if we can rely less on the magnifier, or if we can use the magnifier not to have to zoom in too much, it's going to be easier to use our computer. So kind of just optimizing all the different settings is a fairly important step that you'll want to take. Alright, so let's go on to the next feature here, which is dictation, enable dictation, and we can enable and disable dictation from here. For those who struggle with typing, this is very useful. It will allow us to dictate inside any text field. And so, for example, we have a text field at the top. I will click on here. To start dictation, it will be search and D, and to end dictation, search and D. And so let me go ahead and dictate something here. Hello, I am dictating. And there we go. We hear a little beep when we turn on dictation and when we turn it off, just to let us know that we have successfully turned dictation on and off. And I found that dictation tends to be pretty good. Even though I'm not using a headset for the dictation, the microphone that's built in does a pretty good job. And you know, if I was using a headset, then it would probably do an even better job. So it gives us a very nice text input option, and it will work on any text field on the computer. So whether it be on a web page, or you know, in the settings, or in a document, whatever we're doing, we can use that dictation. Just under there we have some more options to highlight the object with keyboard focus, highlight the text caret. And you may have noticed, like, if I click in this text field at the top here, then my text caret, or my text cursor, has a blue circle around it. Whenever it moves, that blue circle appears to show me where it is. And so visually it's a lot easier for me to see the text cursor as I move it. That's a really nice little feature, because the text cursor is quite small, so that can definitely help me to find that. And this other option to highlight the object with keyboard focus when it changes. If I'm using a keyboard to navigate a page, for example, if I'm using tab here on this page to navigate, as I tab around, I will get an orange box that will slowly fade away around the thing that I'm tabbing to. Again, a nice little visual indicator that shows me what I'm currently focused on. So some nice little features there to help make things a bit more visually accessible. We can also turn on this feature to navigate pages with a text cursor. So if this is off, for example, if I go back to my Wikipedia page here, if I use the arrow keys on my Wikipedia page when it's off, it will just scroll the page up and down. But if I turn on this caret browsing now, when I use my arrow keys, it will actually, hold on a second. There we go. So it will actually allow me to navigate through this page as if it was a Word document almost. So I'm kind of moving a text cursor around the page as I use the arrow keys. So left and right would move kind of letter by letter, up and down would move line by line, and so on and so forth. And so if you like to browse you know, through web pages like that, then that's a useful feature. And you can turn it on and off again with a keyboard shortcut, which is Control Search and the number 7. And we'll go ahead and turn that off for the moment. Okay, we're getting down there now, almost at the end, but we have some important features to look at here. And one of those is a large mouse cursor. Now, I've had this turned on all the time here, but we can toggle it on and off in our settings. And with the feature turned on, we will have a slider we can use to adjust the size of the mouse cursor. And so at the smallest size, that's the default, which is, you know, fairly small. But using the slider, as we slide to the right, the mouse cursor will get larger and larger. And we can also change the color of it from a drop-down list here. We have black, red, yellow, green, cyan, blue, magenta, and pink to choose from. Let's try a nice pink here. There we go, lovely. And we also have a slider which we can activate to highlight the mouse cursor when it's moving. And you may have noticed that as I move my mouse cursor around, there is a nice red circle which appears around the tip of the mouse cursor to again give me a visual indicator of where it is. Just makes it a little bit easier to see. And if you're familiar with some third-party accessibility softwares, then you might be familiar with these kinds of features built into those. But just to have that stuff built into the operating system of the Chromebook is very useful. So that's it for this quick overview of the low vision accessibility tools built into the Chromebook. I think you'll agree that they're quite comprehensive and that they will definitely be useful for a number of people with a visual impairment.
If you want to see more of these videos, we do release new videos every Friday on various different assistive technology topics. And if you have any questions, please do get in touch with us. You could call 414-615-0103. You could email infocus@vision-forward.org. And you can visit our website at vision-forward.org. Thanks a lot for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, give us a like and subscribe to the channel. That would really help us out. And we look forward to seeing you in the next video.